I am Fernando Doblas, Head of Communication at ESA. ESA and space is one of the best, if not the best, symbol of a Europe that dares. A Europe that has kept the objectives difficult to achieve, but has maintained the energies, the momentum, and the vision to succeed something that nobody did before. First, landing on a comet, escorting the comet for more than 1 year. The landing of Rosetta on its comet was the day in which the world discovered the European Space Agency. The second mission that we have shown at the entrance of this pavilion is the IXV, experimental space plane. The mission of the IXV in February was launched to 400 kilometers altitude and then re-entered the atmosphere and tested aerodynamics, ceramic protections, electronics, etc., etc. And I think it's paving the way for new missions in this domain. A sector that, as I said before, is one of the most successful, if not the most successful sector of European cooperation. And ESA, 22 member states, is really an example of that. How do we manage to make these countries happy, in the sense that they know that contributing to ESA, their industry is improved in competitiveness, in market possibilities, and the overall system is elevated as such. The launcher sector, now with Ariane 6, the logic evolves in the sense of having industry, the prime contractor, and industry in general, taking full responsibility on that. That means the design authority for Ariane 6 will rely on industry. Industry is going also to invest in this program, their own money, and industry who takes full responsibility. We are in a change of paradigm. The customer-supplier relationship will be much clearer, will be totally normal in the launcher sector. We have concentrated the totality of space activities, from science, that is the driving energy of space in Europe, is found there, pushing the frontiers of knowledge, trying to understand the origins of the universe, the behavior of our planet Earth, the origins of the solar system, etc., etc. Then the Earth science, that is a continuity of it, in which we are analyzing from the scientific point of view how the Earth system behaves, then is immediately transformed into the applications of Earth observation. Then, continuing with that logic, in this pavilion we pass to the domain of telecommunications, services, applications, growth, economy. And then in telecommunications, ESA is working in partnership with industry. We are working in partnership with operators and telecommunications industry in order to develop applications and systems that are creating growth and employment. Also in the domain of navigation, with the development of Galileo, we have already launched 8 operational satellites, and this year we are going to launch 4 more. That means the Galileo constellation is coming to fruition very, very soon. And we explain to visitors that all that story would not be possible if Europe didn't have an independent and affordable access to space. In January next year, we will launch the orbiter of Exo-Mars, and then 2 years later, in 2018, we will be launching the lander. And this Exo-Mars rover, once more, will have these innovative capabilities of being able to drill in the surface of Mars up to 2 meters, and taking the samples from that and analyzing on site what these samples contain, we can study, analyze whether at that place there are elements that are at the origin of life, of organic materials, etc., etc. That means Exo-Mars will be an exciting mission. These missions of planetary science, of robotic exploration, have a fundamental effect on the society, because all of a sudden they can allow us to transport our fellow citizens into that place and have them experiencing, getting the experience that they are actually on the surface of the planet. We will also continue deploying the Copernicus constellation. We are launching the Copernicus Sentinel-2A satellite the 23rd of June, in some days from now. This Copernicus Sentinel-2A satellite that is operating in the visible frequency domain, we have enormous capabilities, enormous impact on the economy through Copernicus, through Galileo, through, in particular, through telecommunication and all this area of services and applications to an explosion. And I think, and in the UK is a country that is preparing very well for that, in the next years, the space infrastructures and the data that is generating will allow to foster a new economy. Space is not an expense, it's an investment. And politicians from countries that are not a priori very positive to spend public money, they are all committed and more to space, because they see that in space is investing in future. The inspirational aspects of space are very important. You know that another aspect that we have in Europe is that our young generation is less and less interested in scientific and technical studies. Space has already also a fundamental role to play there in motivating this youth to enter also in that domain that is structurally important for Europe. We cannot afford losing these vocations. I consider that what is in the pipeline for space is a space sector that is, should gradually more and more be present in the economy, in the society, and a sector that is more connecting with the real, even more than now, but which are the fundamental challenges that we humans are confronted with. To these challenges, space has many answers to provide, and I think space is a sector that needs to evolve from a sector that is generating itself the answers to non-existing questions, I would say, to a sector that listens more about the questions and the requests and the challenges and provides adapted solutions to them. I think the sector is now in a very important moment of opening the doors to what is happening in our society. There is an enormous continuity in the way in which ESA presents itself in the different exhibitions. We know that Farnborough is more commercial, is more closer to the market than others. That means we adapt our pavilion to that, but basically we tell the same story, from knowledge to services, applications and growth. We are now finalizing Le Bourget in 3 days from now, and then of course as soon as we have finished Le Bourget, we start preparing the next rendezvous, and Farnborough of course is one of the ones that we are starting to prepare.